Welcome in or welcome back. We are here with another Ask Adrian Anything. If I appear a bit out of sorts, it's simply because I am. It is my Friday and I came home and passed out. But I woke up in a cold sweat because I knew I had a question to answer. A question which comes from my dear friend Andrea. This question is, you have 3 wishes. It's not really a question as much as a proposition, but okay, I get it. I see where we're going. What would you do with those 3 wishes? And Andrea, I hate to break it to you. I hate to do this, since we're friends, but this is going to be the shortest episode ever. I have 3 wishes. 3 wishes. I want a private island. I want 1,000 fembots. And I want the world's largest library. That's it. Tutti finito, culo grande, end of episode. We're all done here. Thank you very much. But talking about private island. I don't know much about private islands from the Midwest. Don't know much about islands in general. So how much lawn care comes with one of these? Do I have to mow? Do I have to get out and mow? I'm not wishing for landscaping. So is mowing part of my responsibilities with this? I mean, how much gets... Is there a type of grass that stays short, that stays, sort of compact? You don't have to mow, or don't have to mow all that often. Is there grass like that? Can you do that? Do islands have seasons? Are they all... I don't want, a cold island. But I don't want it to be hot all the time. Kind of fat. I don't want to be sweating. Not all the time. Sometimes it's okay. And now that I'm thinking about it, really, islands are surrounded by water. That's the purpose. That's where the term island comes from, right? It is land. It is land in the middle of all that water. I don't, sort of embarrassing here. A little out of sorts having to admit this. I know the cutting image of healthy and all that. I don't know how to swim. Never swam. Didn't get much exposure to pools as a child or large bodies of water. I don't know how to, I don't float. I know I don't float. I sink real nice, real quick, very fast, straight to the bottom. So the whole proposition of being surrounded by water, sort of troubling, really sort of troubling. I don't really know if that's necessarily the best habitat for an Adrian, is to be in the middle of all that drownable water, all that water. And you wouldn't really, at certain points of the year, have all that much option. Hurricanes come, doesn't matter where you're living on a little private island, you're getting some water. When I think of islands, for some reason, I can't get it out of my head. I always think of Australia. I know, hey, technically not an island. It's a continent. Big enough as its own continent. It's down there, in the corner of the world, on the maps, flat earthers, hooray. And you know what Australia has? Lots of stuff to kill Australians. Are all islands that way? That have just a bunch of stuff that's dangerous? Real bad for people health? That doesn't seem cool. Lots of spiders. There's a spider that apparently likes to live in cars. And they cause X thousands of crashes per year because they're the size of your hand and they like to sneak up under your sun visor and while you're driving just sort of crawl out. And then you got to big ass spider right above your head. Cause thousands of crashes a year in Australia. I don't know if you knew that. I'm not particularly afraid of spiders. Not fond of them. I lived in an apartment once, absolutely infested with spiders. And I thought, hey, just by the laws of predation, that would be illegal. But it was, I guess they eat each other. I guess that's what spiders do. And they, I mean, wolf spiders. I don't know if you've ever seen a wolf spider. It'd be this big. As wolves, hairy. You know, you see one of them, you're like, hey, you're not paying rent. You've got to go. That big. And they answer back. That's how big they are. That wouldn't necessarily be the best. You know, wouldn't be fond of that. Lots of downsides to an island, a private island. I wouldn't need all that space. Maybe just, maybe just like an apartment. I can do an apartment. That's all the space I really need. That's all I don't really have time to keep up the one I've got, And now that I'm thinking about it, fembots, all these android women, do they talk? Because if they talk, it really sort of defeats the point of not having people women, which, hey, let's be honest, I won my alone time. So 1,000 of them, it's a big number. Maybe I don't need 1,000. Maybe I don't need 1,000. Maybe we cut it back. We cut it back from there. Do they talk? Would they have to? Maybe you get rid of their mouths, right? No, you want the mouths. Maybe they don't speak English. Maybe all these fembots, you've got them, you keep them around, and they don't speak English. That way they can't talk to you. They don't talk to you. Then they'd be talking to each other. Are there 1,000 different languages? How many different languages are there that you could program a fembot to speak? Really starting to think this back. 1,000 of them. You have to charge them? Do you wind them up? Are they battery operated? Do you power them down? Like, how does this part work? And when I'm thinking about it, maintenance, I've never been a mechanical kind of guy. I don't work on cars. I don't work on TVs. I'm useless in that department. Really sort of useless. So what about when one of them breaks? What do I do then? Do I have to have a funeral? With 999 crying fembots? That's going to ruin a whole day, And do I have to do the digging? Can I program fembots to do the digging and then complain the whole time about it? I don't know. That's really not... What about like a Viking funeral? We could do Viking funerals. I don't bury them. I just sort of push them out to sea. One after another, until I'm all alone. Which really is where I belong anyway. I don't need the fembots. I'm good on my own. I'm all the company I need. Yeah. But the library. The world's largest library. I could use the world's largest library. I got a little bit of a library here. Always looking for more books. Could always add more books. Always want more books. Not really organized all that well, though, are they? I'm always looking for books. I can't find them. I don't remember where I put them. It's not the greatest solution to have all the books in the world when you can't find any in the ones you've got, I suppose. That's not really... Do I have to have all the books in the world? Do I have to have Harry Potter? Do I have to have a casual vacancy? I suppose I would. I suppose I would if I wanted the world's largest library. I suppose that's part of what's entailed in having the world's largest library, is having all the books. There's libraries in the world that have almost all the books. And if you're talking digital libraries, well, there's digital libraries with all the books, but I don't want a digital library. Would I have to wind it up or charge it, I want the physical paper books. But not all of them. But if I did have all of them, would it include periodicals, like magazines, newspapers? Can't stand newspapers. Don't like magazines. Real libraries have both of them. It's a lot of space. And those things deteriorate quickly. That type of paper, not made to last, especially in a saltwater type air, right? Lots of humidity, lots of salt in the air on your own island. And really, when you think about it, world's largest library be sort of intimidating, yeah? You'd look out at all those books and think, hey, where do I start? Because you don't want to start in the wrong place. Start someplace non-memorable, someplace you don't want to keep going from. Do you start alphabetically? Do you start with the classics? Do you start with the new stuff that probably doesn't suck as bad as most of the new stuff? Kind of intimidating. And if you're being honest, really, with all the books in the world, you're not thinking about where you start. You get preoccupied with where you'd finish. Sort of a morbid manifesto. Where am I going to croak? At what point will I not be reading anymore? Because I've been dead. I've died. Maybe I've drowned. With a book in my hand. What book would that be? It's a lot of morbid thoughts. That's tough. Maybe I don't need all the books in the world. Maybe I need a small, personal type of library. I gotta accrue books as I go. Just build them up. Really, when I think about this, when I go all at it, I'd like an apartment, something small. I don't have to keep up. I don't have to do the lawn work. Maybe like a studio. And the Fembots, it's a bad idea. It's a real bad idea. I'd be fine alone, And the library, just something manageable that I'd taken the time to build. So a studio apartment alone with a decent library. Well, I'll be goddamned.